The most important thing, other than grabbing your important possessions, your family members, your pets, is to keep your wits about you. And as incredibly difficult as that is in this time, it may be the single most important thing that will lead to more lives saved in this case.
The weather in March and April was very hot and dry, so the conditions were perfect for a wildfire situation.
Today we're looking at a high of 30 degrees and sunny. Tomorrow sunny and a high of 30 again.
The Sunday afternoon I was in my backyard and noticed the two different plumes of smoke.
It was playoff hockey, so I remember just sitting in the bar. Mel was even there.
I was at an outdoor birthday party and we noticed the smoke and we're a little concerned and watched it.
We knew that we were having twins and we had the scheduled C-section coming up in a couple of days, and we were just getting everything ready to have the babies and get back here.
We were out on the deck enjoying the afternoon and noticed that there was a plume of smoke coming from the west of my home.
We heard that there was a fire in Abbotsford and it was getting closer, and it was one of those things where you kind of like, well, how close can it really get?
The 911 operator, she said, oh, this must be the Abbotsford fire, it reflared. I said, no, I don't think so. And she said, this is the part I won't forget is, don't worry, dear, help is on the way.
The morning of Tuesday, we awoke and it was fresh air and blue skies and sunshine, and everyone was dressed for summer and appreciating that the fire danger seemed to be over.
Well, the morning we didn't know what was going on. We actually had a co-worker here that said my house is in trouble. And she said the fire's getting close, and we didn't pay too much attention to it.
Country 93.3, talk to Pete.
I'm wondering if you've heard anything about Dickensfield.
Nothing about Dickensfield yet. You'd probably still be asked to be prepared, like I keep telling people. Get to your house.
So we started to hear warnings of getting prepared for evacuation in some of the neighborhoods, which very quickly escalated to actual evacuations.
By 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we had received a mutual aid request from the City of Fort McMurray Fire Department to send resources to town to support their response.
The City of Fort McMurray is under a mandatory evacuation order. If you are south of Beacon Hill, you should head to the Anzac Recreation
We were dispatched to Thickwood. The tree line was on fire and they wanted to protect all the houses on the tree line.
We wanted to try and get in front of the fire, and we decided to try and come around to the Parsons Creek area as there's houses over here. Knowing that Scott's house was on the street as well, another city firefighter, his brother. And as we came down this street, you couldn't see anything right away because it was completely smoked out. There was so much smoke, and then you started to see orange up ahead, and we knew, well, there's fires up ahead. And as we came up to this area, then we could see that Scott's house and a few other houses were all on fire, and we began an offensive attack on those houses.
I got out of recovery. The nurses came into the room fairly shortly afterwards and said, you need to move.
We have an alarm system that we could see. Never thought to get on the camera of it, but you could see the temperature of the house, and okay, it's still holding to temperature. Oh, maybe. Next thing you know, my phone is ringing, and it's the alarm company that says, we have a reported fire at your home, but you do realize that we're not coming, right? We're not sending anybody. And it's like, I think that's when it really sunk in that it's gone.
On May 3rd, 90,000 of us went from having a normal life to being refugees.
We'll continue to keep you updated here on Country 93.3. And friends, please do stay safe.
It was incredible, frankly. Arriving by the camps, you knew that they were already full. They'd taken as many as they could. The community of Fort McKay had helped so many people. But nonetheless, it didn't stop employees in those environments from going out to the roadside saying, we will make room for you, please come in.
We had to find accommodation for about 15,000 people. So we worked with all the camps, and we coordinated all the traffic that was coming through today and providing information and feeding people. It was crazy.
Well, breaking news tonight from Fort McMurray. 660 News is now broadcasting live to listeners at Country 93.3 and Rock 97.9 in Fort Mac. Here's the latest information you need to know as a wildfire moves through the city.
I think we were on the bus for somewhere around 8 hours by the time we got picked up near Firebag.
I truly thought once we got to Firebag, they were going to let us rest, because all I wanted to do was sleep. And then they said, okay, you're on the first plane out. And then it turned also to being concerned about Savannah, our 2-year-old daughter, who was with my dad traveling north as well, and making sure that we could connect with her.
Firebag was my only experience through that evacuation, and incredible isn't a big enough word.
We got word that some people will be coming. They came. I've seen a little kid come in first. I said, okay, that's unusual for this place. He was happy though. He hit the ice cream machine, so he was off and running. The parents looked stressed, but then they came. They came in droves. There was dogs down the hallway, birds, cats. It got pretty hectic.
No one anticipates that many families coming into an oil sands camp or lodge. And what we saw was the workers who were staying in that camp and lodge were giving up their rooms so that families could stay together.
There was a miraculous thing that happened during the evacuation and the crisis, and that was the response of industry to what was happening. They said, we just did what needed to be done, what was the right thing to do. There was no talk of profit. It was about people.
It's hard to really express all the gratitude that we all feel for what our industry partners did. When we hear the stories of how the evacuation happened and how industry played such a key part of everyone's safe recovery from this, from the initial crisis. We know that our industry partners are here for our community. We wouldn't be here in Wood Buffalo without industry, and I think we really are just one community.
At the end of the day, we walked out of our home. Our kids were in Edmonton at the time, so we knew they were safe, and I'll miss my stuff, but we have each other, so that's what's important.
I don't think anyone thinks this will be an easy overnight fix in terms of rebuilding the community and recovering to the way that we were before. Not only did we have Canada's most expensive natural disaster, but we were going through an economic downturn that was really hitting the city hard for the last 18 months prior. So when you combine those two things, it's a hard task ahead, but if any community can do it, I think it's going to be Fort McMurray and Wood Buffalo.
We see this as an opportunity to do things differently. We really see this as a chance to kind of, make sure that we think about what we want for our community and really rebuild our community with those things in mind.
We have an opportunity to push the restart button and to think about how we're building our community and think about what are those priorities to be able to support such a young, vibrant community, and how do we build it so moving into the future we have a community that just surpasses any other in Canada.
If there's one positive through all of this, I hope the rest of Canada and the world sees the real Fort McMurray. The community that is a community. It's not a place that you just come to work, that I think a lot of people have always thought. It's not a boom town, it's a hometown, is what we continue to stress before the fires, and I think even more so now.
You can always tell on the face of adversity what kind of character you have, and I can't think of any more adversity that we faced than the fires, and we're still here, and we're going to rebuild, and there is a lot of new opportunities here, and it's time to move forward.
The whole experience of the fire exposed, in fact, that we all have the potential of becoming vulnerable. And I think what this horrible situation did was to remind people that the images they were seeing on their TV were terrifying, but they also saw images of humanity, and they felt that that we're all part of this same world together and part of this same country, and the barriers between those of us in Fort McMurray and those of us across the country seem to just be completely dropped.
We will rebuild Fort McMurray, and you know, there's going to be challenges along the way and hurdles, but you won't break this community. It's impossible to break this community.